right, I'm just going to read it. It's a little bit long, but I think the context is important because it's a well thought out question. So this is from Andrea. She reached out on LinkedIn, I believe. So she says, Stefan, I'm really stuck on the research piece of the course because I'm not sure who my target audience is with respect to the copy I'm writing on LinkedIn. I'm a career coach for college students and young professionals, aka recent graduates. My expertise is very niche. It's helping those who are confused about what they want to do when they graduate identify 3 potential career options they'd be psyched to explore. I don't work on optimizing resumes. I help them get career clarity, and then I give them tools like how to do informational interviews and how to use LinkedIn for job searching and networking in a super strategic way. I write about this every day on LinkedIn, but clearly haven't found my audience. Where can I find these college students who are stuck and confused on Dig, Quora, or Reddit? Or should I be writing to their parents who will be the ones who will be able to afford to buy the 5-figure course I'm going to be selling soon? Thanks so much.
Sweet. So yeah, it is long. So basically, and Andrea is a badass. She's awesome. And she actually interviewed me for her podcast. She interviewed Charles and then interviewed me, and we did like a 2-part interview last week. And she was a CNN reporter for like 15 years and has an awesome network. Super cool person. Does really cool stuff. Glad to have Andrea. And after she was preparing to like interview me for the blog, she bought her NBC because she was like, oh shit, like damn it, turns out that copy works. But oh, Andrea, come on. She said, Andrea, you're still in all panelists. You gotta do panelists and attendees. But she said, you're embarrassing me. But no, you deserve it. I really enjoyed our conversation a lot, Andrea. Yeah, I think for me, like, so the idea of like with marketing this, I do think you're probably trying to, for research on it, I would say you're still trying to market to the parents. I mean, you want to understand maybe what the students are talking about and their fears and pain points, but really, like you and I talked about briefly, Andrea, during the podcast stuff I was doing with you. You're selling like a $2,000 or $3,000, how much it is, like course about basically what to do after college at $2,000. Then it's like the parents are the one that you're writing to and marketing to more so than the students, right? Because the students can't afford it. They have to go ask their parents. But what's more likely is that the parents are going to see it and get it for their students as like a gift, as like a, like a graduation present or leading up to it. So that's thought number one. And then, I mean, where are they, hanging out? Like, what are they doing? Well, like, there's so many like, there's gotta be forums on like parents of like college students or like I guess that's curious because, there's so many forums on like admissions and college admissions and like getting kids into college. But I mean, I know there's definitely parenting forums. Might be like, if I even just Googled like, daughter or son, graduating college, like, advice for them, like for advice for parents as, and put forum at the end of it, something as simple as that, I think could probably find some interesting stuff. Like, I can Google it right now. I'm kind of curious to see what I get here. Son graduating college advice forums, parent forums. I'm gonna Google. I know I'm not screen sharing, but I'm just curious. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's something like here. If I share my screen, I'll share it for a second. Seek advice for my son graduating in 2016. There's, parents forum from College Confidential. So I'd be looking in there. Saving for College forum. This is College Confidential as well, another one. Oh, Attitude Magazine. I did their podcast. They interviewed me. Interesting. There's ADD stuff there. But I've typed in son, and you can do the same thing with like daughter and kid. And then like honestly, I'd just be messing with like this is one place I would start because the parents are the ones talking, not necessarily the students or the kids. So I'd be looking there. I agree, Andrea, you're still on all panelists. If you look at the little blue thing, you can switch to panelists and attendees, but you are still on panelists. But Andrea said, exactly, there's so much focus on getting kids into college, but next to nothing about helping them once they get ready to transition to the real world. Yeah, for sure, that's really interesting. And I think you have a good niche there. But yeah, I think there's still some forum stuff. I'd be going through there. Maybe Amazon. There you go. I'll pass the attendees. Hey, Andrea. Everyone say hi to Andrea in the chat now that she's the panelists and attendees. Can I get a couple people to say hi to Andrea? I want to see it. Anybody? I'll say hi. There we go.
No, someone said no.
Well, Frederico's a dick, but Krista, Ben, Jose, Nielsen, and Kresimir all said hi. It's great. Frederico, when he's like a famous copywriter and he wants Andrea to interview him, and she's gonna remember that he said no. Frederico. Yeah, Frederico's not a dick. He's always making sure that I remember to stay hydrated. Which I appreciate that. Amazon, I wonder about like like I'm back to searching here. Let me pull back up, share screen for a minute. Like I put career advice for college graduates. Mastering college to career, modern guide to landing your dream job before graduation. It's kind of interesting. What's next? 5-year plan for life after college. I mean, not a ton. I like lots of reviews. Getting from college to career. Because again, I think if you go through here and this sort of stuff, you'll probably find that a lot of people buying this are parents who are like, I bought this for my son or daughter because here's what I was worried about. That type of stuff. I mean, we can go look and see here. So much of his fellow students. But I think if you go through these, I would imagine you'll see some of the reviews that are like from parents who bought them for their kids and stuff like that. And same thing for some of these other books too. Like I bought this book for my daughter, but since she was away this weekend, I read through it myself. I ended up writing 3 pages of bullets and notes. Some things I already knew and was going to suggest to her. It's nice to have validation. I learned new things. I would tell her to recommend this to all her friends while wait after she finds a job because the tips are so clearly spelled out. My favorite advice beyond the very important, lock down your social media sites now, and the very practical, add a signature line to your email, was follow every rainbow. So if you go through these, you'll start seeing, I think you'll see more of this stuff, Andrea, where it's like, parents, like this is a career coach who read it. I mean, I think that's what I would be doing on Amazon. So hopefully that makes sense. But I think as you go through that, that should hopefully be helpful. Does that make sense? And then, excellent, awesome, Andrea. Ben and Sabah, do you guys have anything that you want to add to what I've been saying?
No, I think that's solid. And for the research part, for sure, I think you got that covered. I was thinking more along the lines of who these people are, just in my head, and definitely like the super parents who try and organize everything for their kids from, at every grade level. Like they're the ones who are going to respond to this type of offer the best, right? So the ones, if you can really highlight that, the fact that, the helicopter parents or the super parents who are really invested in their child's like growth and career and are always on top of, making sure that they get their applications in on time and, all of that stuff, they're the ones who are going to be like, okay, this is the next step, right? They need to get this course on opening up that next level to continue controlling their kids.
And you both agree. I mean, I think it is important to note about how basically it really is like you're talking to the parents and not the kids as much. I mean, the kids, I mean, you can note their pain points because again, I think Andrea, one quick note, like if you see the kids who are leaving reviews or checking the forums and like their concerns and anxieties, it's worth noting those because you can then express those to the parent and be like, perhaps your kid said something to you like this or this. Maybe your kid feels like this, right? And if you're seeing that those things are coming up regularly, so I think you can look at both. I look at the parent stuff first because they're the buyer, but I think you can, go to like, no, I think for your LinkedIn post, well, I finish my thought, but then I think, so look at the parents first because they're the buyer, but then for the Amazon reviews and even the forums, you can do like, college student forums about, hey, like, getting a job after college and what are they saying? And you can kind of have both. But again, I think speaking to the parent for selling. For LinkedIn, it depends on the point of the LinkedIn post, right? If your point is to sell the course and sell your services only, I think you're writing to the parent. Well, for selling, you're writing to the parent, but you're also, trying to create content that the parent will then share with their student that they feel is valuable. They want to give to their student. If they'll share your free content, they're more likely to buy your paid content to share with their student as well. And then as far as like, wanting to create, you know, and give value, I do think that there's, you know, something to be said for having posts that are also geared towards the actual students. So they also, you know, as more of them get to know you and respect you and value what you have to say, then it is more likely that they will, you know, some of them will tell their parents about you and will want their parents to help buying the course. But if you can only speak to one, it's the parents. But I think for your LinkedIn content, having a mixture makes sense, you know, to hit both. That's my perspective on it.
And you could, yeah, and you could speak from a place of authority too, right? So you could come up with like any statistics, or did you know that, you know, 50% of college graduates have no idea what they want to do with their careers, and kind of go into, you know, an explanation of why this happens and what people can do about it, whether it's the college student or the parents at that point. You know, just more general sort of like shedding light or creating awareness about this big problem, that they're confused, you know, they've just, you know, they've invested so much time, energy, and probably money if they went to private school to get to college, and then they have no idea what to do with their careers. Like they're just, you know, they're stuck. And for the parents, the biggest fear is that they're going to be just, you know, wandering through school or not committed enough or never actually graduating, right? Like they lose interest and never actually graduate. So definitely talking about all of those pain points will be valuable.
Totally. Cool. Thank you, Sabah and Ben. And Andrea, thanks for the question. This is so proud that kids are graduating into the worst recession in decades.
Yeah, exactly. I would talk about the recession and talk about the economy and like what types of companies are hiring, yet college graduates are getting degrees in things that are not even going to be, you know, relevant in 5 to 10 years. So create all that fear. I mean, you know, in in an ethical way, but definitely just be the person that's creating awareness about those things, I think would be your best strategy.
One more interesting thing, Andrea, real quick, is like, because I'm a subscriber to Wall Street Journal, and yeah, I read it pretty much every day, and just like, you know, the main stuff. And they have like the most popular, or they always have like their kind of the 5 most popular articles for the day. And like anytime there's stuff about like graduates like going into the job market, like grad school rankings, like top school rankings, like, but grad school makes sense, right? Because you're talking to college graduates who maybe grad school is on their mind. Should I go to grad school, or should my kid go to grad school? Should they try to become a lawyer or whatever? I actually think, I don't know if, you know, you need a subscription. I think it's $29.99 a month for Wall Street Journal if you don't have the digital subscription. But it might be worth going in there and just like looking at some keywords, like, you know, searching for like college graduates, or, you know, like entering the workforce or whatever, just different keywords, and then looking at those articles. And then you know, a lot of them also have they'll have comments, right? And you'll see like hundreds of comments, and some of them are gonna be the crappy troll comments and stuff like that. But you know, you'll probably see a lot of parents who are sharing their thoughts, and that's sort of like kind of part of your market too, because we're talking about, you know, if they're a reader of Wall Street Journal, you know, and they have this subscription, they're kind of gonna have a bit of a higher income, and you know, they're gonna be able to afford the course and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. So I think that'd be a really cool approach for you as well. Isn't this cool? Look at that. This is part of your RMBC for $9.97 one time. And like, we're just sitting here just talking strategy breakdown. I love this. So awesome. So fun.
Yeah, it's crazy. I did my best to convey that in my post pitching this last week, that this is typically something reserved for much more expensive programs. So the fact I was able to wrangle you and Sabah and anyone else involved is pretty nifty.
Yeah.
And then I don't have anything in regards to what they just said. It's awesome. But one thing I would think about is really everything that we just answered, or your process and everything. It's the same as if you were a coach or a consultant or whatever else, expert type business. So you need to have a proprietary process. You need to have branded deliverables. You need to have the same elements that would go into any sort of high ticket expert offer. So just think about that. And you've already, in the email to Stefan, you've written some things that I think could be branded to your own brand. Like, I'm sure you don't own the words career clarity, but I've never heard that before. Of course, I'm not really in the space. After college, I worked at a deli, so I probably could have used your service. But yeah, I think that that's something where if you focus on having you know, a proprietary process, branded deliverables, things that you own, and you have that positioning, and you come up with a name for your process, you can really own this space and make it seem really special and really attractive, and charge that value, because obviously your value proposition is really big. And whenever you're selling any sort of make money offer, which is what you're doing with a better job, selling an $80,000 or $100,000 a year job for 10 grand. It's like, it's a pretty good deal. So instead of working at a
I
deli,
agree. Yeah, that's a great point.
I agree. It's actually, Ben just said that so casually, but that was like a really good point.
Yeah, no, and if you can come up with some sort of method or process that you help these students work through, if it's like a 3-step or 5-step process where you ask certain questions, they fill out questionnaires or whatever the process is, you can basically brand that, right? So where it's like the clarity 4-step process, whatever, you come up with a clever name for it, and then that will be your thing. Like, this is the method I have all my students go through. And then obviously at the more advanced levels, if they're working one-on-one with me as a coach, then we work through this and expand on it. So you could use that as a lead magnet. There's a lot of ways to basically brand it and create your positioning. That's what Ben was, alluding to.
Yeah, totally. And then for your overachiever parents, they're likely going to be the ones selling the expensive stuff. But if you have a method, then you can break that down into a number of ways. It could be a little video course with just like slides. It could be an ebook or whatever. And that gives you the opportunity to present an offer to the marketplace that might also attract students directly. Where if you're thinking about it and you're stressed out and you've proven that you're really an expert on this, then having that lower ticket offer might attract the students. So just make sure it's not something that causes you a bunch of logistical headaches. Otherwise, it could be not worth it,